Hey everybody, good morning. Happy Saturday. It's been a long week and we got about 30 seconds to go before we get started. So I'm just going to let give it just about 10 or 15 more seconds for people to come on and then we'll get started. We got a great presentation. Pablo and I, we like to get together and show you guys, how you can use the tools that Pablo created, that I created with NinjaTrader to make your trading life easier. There's no point in making trading more difficult than it needs to be, more stressful. And one of the things that I like about markers is that it helps me with my trade entry, right? Because I've always um, struggled with, but I've always, me personally, sometimes I when I'm trading, if I'm having after suffering, two or three losses in a row, I start to get a little lax in my trading. Either two things happen. One, I either get super aggressive, which is bad, or two, I get super, not super, but I get a little bit less aggressive. And I found by having a way to automate my trade entry, which is what how I use markers, it sort of removes that from me, because I know that, you know, the way that I trade, has a positive expectancy. So if there are going to be runs where you do have three, four, five losses in a row, that's just part of trading. Sometimes they come spread out, sometimes they come grouped together. And I'm not going to be out there and saying, I'm impervious to losses. I'm an iceman. I got ice running through my veins. No, I'm a human being. I live and breathe, and you know things do affect my trading. I got homeschool with my kids, and sometimes they come in, they want to ask me something, and if I get distracted, I lose my focus on the market. I could miss a trade entry, and having a tool like markers takes that burden off me. So um let's get started here. Now, hold on a second here. Where's my screen? Get my little laser pointer here. So, today we're going to talk about how to automate order flows, flow shifts with markers. Okay, flow shifts is the new order flow indicator that I released last week, and it's been getting very good feedback from users. And it's different than some of the other tools that I've created because it reads different things in the order flow, right? It's not like you're just analyzing price, right? In order flow, there's so many different things to analyze. You have delta, you have point of control, you have bid volume, you have offer volume. Obviously, you still have price, you have volume for the bar, you have so much more data to analyze than just relying on price alone. So before we begin, just do understand, trading involves risk, right? Don't trade with money you can't afford to lose, basically. So why flow shifts and why markers? Well, markers helps you by automating your trading, okay? And there's different settings of markers that you can use. Right? If you want to go full on auto, you can. If you just want to use it for trade entry, you can. There's different ways you can use it. And the great thing is you can combine different tools with it, right? And whenever I create a tool, I always make sure that, I tell my programmer, make sure it plots so that it could be read in markers, right? And more importantly, right, using a tool to automate your trading, you're not going to miss trades. Okay, now I know some people that like to trade in the evening session, overnight, and they don't always want to be sitting in front of a screen, because in the night session, obviously the volume is a lot less. They're happy to let markers run and with the indicator and get them into the trade, then they could focus on it, right? I mean, they're not going to, it's different. If you've traded the night session and the day session, obviously, the night session is much slower. And, when the market is slow, it's hard to be focused 100% that you need to be. So having a tool like markers, can help you in that regards, and even during the day session when the markets are moving very fast, it's really emotional at times, right? You see, especially Friday, right? We had that big rally in the last hour of trading. And, it's sometimes, you get so emotional that you find yourself taking trades you probably shouldn't take, when the market sold off sharply, then it rallied, right? I'm sure there's a lot of people that sold that sell-off, right? Because we on that second leg down right before the big rally, we sort of took out the previous low, so it's a lot of people got stuck, right? And they're sort of taking it because they're just going, oh my gosh, the market's moving so fast. This is it. We're selling off. We're going to make new lows, and they get excited and then they start to deviate from their trading plan. And once you're in a trade, then you got to start managing the trade, right? Me personally, I like to read the order flow. Okay, I like to know what's going on. Is there buying or selling coming in? And if a trade's not working out, I'm going to get out early at a smaller loss rather than let it go and stop me out, at the full stop, right? I mean, as a trader, that's what you have to do. You have to trade, right? Getting in is one thing, but then you still got to manage the trade. That's the other part of trading. It's not just, oh, I'm going to get in here. System says buy here. It's either going to go to my take profit or to my stop. Okay. Well, why should you let it stop you out at a full loss when you're staring at the screen? I say, this doesn't make sense. What I'm seeing, I'm long, but all of a sudden the order flow that's coming in is bearish. Then you get out, right? Don't sit there and think that, oh, it has to be binary. It has to be either a profit or a loss. No, you could get out at break even. You could get out at +1, -1, +2, -2, etc. You can get out of a trade at any point, okay? And that's sometimes something that traders lose sight of, right? If a trade doesn't start going in your favor relatively soon, chances are it's not going to go in your favor. I mean, it could, but if you get into a trade and then you just find yourself underwater for, if you're trading a 1 minute chart, if you find yourself underwater for the next 10 minutes, chances are it's not going to work out. Okay. I mean, why subject yourself to that? And that's where the part of being a trader and managing your trade comes into play. And there's times where you can get into a trade. That's what I talk about when I talk about managing a trade. You get into a trade, you got to take profit. Market goes up, gets within 5 ticks of your take profit, comes back down, hanging around break even, makes another move back up towards your take profit, doesn't get there. Now what are you going to do? Right? He's going to say, well, I'm going to let it go there a third time. Well, chances are it's going to put in a double top and come down and stop you out, right? You have to be able to recognize when those conditions change. That's your job, sort of as a trader, right? Is to manage the trade. Now, markers works on your normal NinjaTrader chart. Markers runs on NinjaTrader 8. My indicators work on NinjaTrader 8, and it'll work on a normal bar chart as well as an order flow trader chart. Setup is very quick and easy, and I have a series of steps. I'm going to show you how fast it is to set it up. Basically, for me, um, once I learned how to use it, and it's pretty straightforward. I'm not the most um, tech savvy person. I know a lot about computers, but I'm not one of these guys that can sort of sit there and dissect how to use software. Sometimes you buy software and you look at the videos and you think, oh, this is great. I could do all this stuff with the software. Then you end up getting the software and you don't know how to use it properly. So that's what I like about markers is it's especially this most recent version, which probably released last year, is very easy to use. It's very very easy to set up and start running. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it over to Pablo. All right, he's going to take you through some examples with markers, and he's going to talk about sort of the difference of tick replay and et cetera, things like that. And a question came up yesterday about um, markers. So hopefully, if you're here today, I haven't gone through the list, just ask your question there. And then after Pablo's done, I'll take you through a quick setup, show you how easy it is to set up an indicator in markers using markers copy. And then, if you got any questions, just ask them and we'll answer them. So I see one question, you know, John, what makes a difference from order flow scalper and order flow shifts is it reads different things in the order flow. Not everything is the same in the sense that, there's so many different data points you could extract from the order flow. And, if you're looking strictly at price, right, that's pretty, I don't know how you call it, transparent, right? There's only so many ways you could use price by itself. But then when you start adding volume that traded on the bid, volume that traded on the offer, whether there's imbalances, what the net difference is between those volumes, et cetera, in a two-way auction, in horizontally, there's a lot more ways of sort of opening up that flower. So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Pablo now, and I'll let him take you guys through markers. For those of you that are new to markers, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at the capabilities that it has. All right, Pablo, I'll turn it over to you. So you should have a screen pop up.
Okay, hello everyone. I am just looking for the way to share my screen. I guess this is one. Yes. Let me know if you can see the chart with the playback at the bottom.
Yes, I see it.
Perfect. So thank you, Mike, for this invitation, and thank you everyone to be here. And today we are going to be to watch very quickly and fast how to automate, and even more, how to filter signals using markers, and how to solve all those problems of the tick replay, the time to calculate the chart, and all of that. Let me show you a quick example that I am using today, because I have a lot of hardware, a lot of software running on my computer. So using tick replay may take down my computer at this moment. So I have tick replay turned off. That means that if I refresh the chart, everything is lost. This is normal because on tick replay, when I refresh the chart, each bar is calculated tick by tick. And if your indicator, like most of order flow indicators, use tick by tick analysis to calculate order flow, you need tick by tick analysis. Then that takes a lot of time to calculate. But the good part is, okay, you can enable this option, which is new on NinjaTrader 8. This was not available on NinjaTrader 7. So when you are backtesting or looking at a historical performance, so you are not live, you are not trading live, so it doesn't matter if your computer takes too much to calculate, then you can enable that option. But for live trading, when you are live trading and you want to change something on your chart, if you add an indicator, change a parameter, whatever, when you click on apply, everything is calculated again from all your bars on the past. And that takes a lot of time to calculate. Not only a lot of time, but also a lot of hardware resources, memory. So the more charts you have, the more charts on the same instrument that you are refreshing, because all the charts are recalculated again. That takes a lot of time and a lot of memory. So if you want to save that, you can, for I am saying for real-time trading. Let's say that we are trading, I want to change just a setting. You turn off tick replay, and everything will be gone for the historical. But from this moment to the to real time, it will work without any problem. Now, when you are using playback, you don't need to use tick replay, because you can execute a fast replay. If you right-click your playback, you can set this option to playback the entire day, and NinjaTrader replays all the day in tick mode. So it is already doing the tick replay feature. So right click, select this option, playback the current day, and then go to to the time that you want to analyze. For example, this is this Friday. At the end of the session, when you click on OK, everything will be played back tick by tick, but at full speed. I am not currently. We are not doing a playback. We are just seeking the selected time. So it is painting tick by tick all the data. And believe me, this is much faster than using tick replay and refreshing the chart. I don't know why. And even more, if you refresh your chart several times, I don't know why using tick replay increases the time needed for each refresh. And even more, what I saw is that the memory also increases. So each time you refresh, it takes more memory and so on. So for my analysis, I prefer doing that. Turn off tick replay, and for historical backtest, just reload a playback. Select this option, and then go to the time that you want to analyze, and that's all. Now, what we have now on the chart is just a random combination. I choose, this is the indicator, the new indicator, the Flowshift, and I tried to find a combination that plays a lot of signals, just to show you how to automate that. The first thing that we need to do is to copy the signals. And for those asking, how can I know if my indicator is compatible or not? Maybe you have a different, another, not the Flowshift, but the, I don't know, the Delta Scalper or many others that are there. Markers is using a feature of NinjaTrader that is named nesting. You can nest any indicator with another indicator. For example, I can calculate the EMA of the price, of course, and also from another indicator. For example, I can calculate the EMA of the HMA of the SMA of the price. And this is what we are using here. For example, if you want to check if your signals from not this but other indicator is compatible, you can add, for example, the simple moving average of one bar, because the simple moving average of one bar is the same thing. The average of one bar is exactly the same. So you can calculate, for example, the SMA of one bar, this with a period of 1, and inside here you place the indicator with all the same parameters and select the correct plot. Let's see an example. Here I am using this indicator with all these settings, and this indicator has two plots: buy signals, sell signals. So I need to replicate this into my nested indicator, which in this case it is markers copy. But if you don't have markers and you want to know if it is compatible, you can use another indicator and try to nest your indicator into here. For example, let's take a copy of these settings. So now I have all my parameters. And now I can add my preferred is the maximum indicator, because this is the fastest indicator. The maximum of one bar is the same thing of the input. So I can type max maximum, this, the maximum of one bar of the indicator that I want to check. So on input series, indicator, this one, and I need to copy all the same parameters. The parameters are everything checked. This is unchecked. 2, 0, I guess it is not used, but just to be sure that everything is the same. 1 and 2. And what else? This is equal. This is for visual, so we don't need to place this the same. And also, it is important that if the indicator works at bar close, you need to nest your indicator at bar close. This indicator works on intrabar, so you need to calculate when you add the maximum of one bar of this indicator that works on intrabar, then set this to each tick. Now when I click on OK, everything is gone because I don't have tick replay enabled. Let's make this really big so we can sure that it should match the signals. And I am copying or adding, painting the maximum of one bar of these blue triangles, I guess. Yes, by signal. Okay. Now if I click on OK, everything is gone. And if I go to OK, these at the bottom are the zeros when the maximum of nothing is 0. So I need to, here are the correct values, and these are the not correct values. So we need to check that this matches to the signals. Again, I am explaining the basic procedure to detect if a custom indicator can be used with markers to automate the signals. If you want to remove the zeros, the zeros are when there is no signal, there is a 0. So you can make this indicator the maximum, remove the auto scale. The problem is that now it is, if I do that, everything is going again. Okay, no problem. Go to again. Sorry for the, for the delay. Now we are going to repeat this process with the copy, and now we will see how to filter the signals. Now you can see that the maximum of one bar of the selected indicator is correctly over the signals that we want to copy. So that means if any NinjaTrader indicator can nest this indicator, then markers copy will also do that. Okay, let's wait this to finish. When we are doing this, we cannot interrupt because we are not doing a playback. We just selected go to. Only we can move the playback when this is green. If I click here go to, then we need to wait. Okay, now let's remove this. I guess if I move this from the, no, if I move this from another panel, everything remains. Now, if I remove this, no, everything remains. Only if I go to indicators and do something, then everything is lost. Now, the next step, the same, exactly the same that we did with the maximum of one bar or with the simple moving average of one bar or the exponential moving average of one bar, exactly the same we do with markers copy. We go to the indicator store, add the markers copy. I already have it here. I have one for longs, another for shorts. The only different is the plot inside. The longs, look at here. This is the name of my blue triangles, and the name is going to be longs. On input series, I have all the same parameters, and the plot is by signal. On the other, the parameters are exactly the same, but now it is the cell signal. Okay. Now, something else. If I want to automate those signals, first, the first step should be checking that what I am copying is exactly the same that I am having on the chart, because maybe I have a wrong parameter. If an indicator has a lot of parameters, maybe I made a mistake here, and then my copy signals are not the same than the visual signals. What I usually do is selecting a almost visible dot. You can hide this with this option, because when I copy an indicator or a signal, it will paint or not another signal, just to confirm if the copied signal is exactly the same than the original signal. So let's enable this and enable this other. If I click on OK, again, everything is lost. So I need to, again, I need to haptic replay enabled, or do this procedure, go to the same time and date, and now check if my copied dots are on the same places than the signals that I want to automate. And now we can see that we have a little dot over the signals I want to copy. So this is the first check. Now, if I want to automate this as it is painted right now, I don't want to filter, I don't want to do nothing else. This is the simplest process. I only need to say on the copies here that this is a fast signal. Simple. And also add markers where the default setting on markers is this, where I am looking for a drawing object. This is the old method, the method used on NinjaTrader 7, and it is still available on NinjaTrader 8. But I always suggest use the new method using fast signals. So select fast signal, and here we type the names that we copied. We used longs, shorts, and both are fast signals. So here I will type long and short. That's all. It can be simpler. Now let me show you something even more complicated. Now let's say I want to filter those signals, because we have a lot of signals for one day, and maybe I want to filter, we can filter from markers. So the signals are painted by markers is filtering with this option. But let's say you want to create a new logic that only paints signals when all your conditions are met. For example, you have a signal here, and also you have a filter in agreement. In that case, then your copy is no longer a fast signal. My two copies are not fast signals anymore. Now they are variables. Now I have a variable named longs and a variable named shorts, that on this bar, for example, long has a value. The value is the price where it is located. And when there is no value, then the value is 0, as we saw on the maximum indicator. Perfect. That means that now I can use that variable on another condition. So I can add, let's try to find a filter first. For example, let's add an HMA, a slow HMA, something like this. And let's say that when the line is going up, I want to take only longs. When the line is going down, I want only shorts. So we need to copy that HMA on input series. We select the HMA with a period of 100, enable, and I am painting a red dot because the copy of the line is visible. The name is filter. When I click on apply, now there are little dots just to confirm that the variable filter is exactly the value of the HMA. Now, how can I say that the line is going up? When a line is going up, its value is greater than the value on the previous bar. That should be something like saying that filter on the current bar is greater than filter on the previous bar. Now let's add an end condition. Now we have two ends, one for longs, another for shorts. First of all, I need to enable this. And this is for longs. The name of the histogram is filter longs, and I now creating a fast signal. This is what is going to move markers. The fast signal created by this end indicator. My two conditions are, first of all, that longs is greater than 0. My long signals are greater than 0. So there is a signal here. And my second condition is that filter on the current bar is greater than filter on the previous bar. Simple. The red line is going up. So the two conditions are I have a long signal and also the red line is going up. For the shorts, I change the name of the histogram and also change the name of the fast signal. The condition is that shorts is greater than 0 and also the filter on the current bar is less than the filter on the previous bar. That means the red line is going down. Let's take a look at how it looks, making this visible and also the previous one. When I refresh, everything is false because the red line is going up, but there are no signals because the signals need tick replay. But if I click on go to, now this short signal is not painting a signal by the end indicator because the line is going up. Now the line is going down, so I get a short. The line is going down, I get another short. Now the line is going up, I get a long. And I forgot to explain how to have a separation between, because I have a lot of longs here, but I am only interested in the first one. So for that, there is another option inside here. I will show you as soon as it finishes. Okay, it finishes because this is green. Now I can move the chart. On the end indicator, there is another parameter that I forgot to explain. We have two ends, one for longs, another for shorts, and this parameter is the number of bars that I need to wait to be interested in taking another signal. So I need a space of 20 bars without a signal to be interested in taking another signal. So I have a signal here because 20 bars in the past there are no longs. And then I reset the counter here, reset the counter here. So there are no more signals at less, for example, this with this is at less than 20 bars. And now if I want to automate this, just set the fast signals created by the end, this end is creating go long. This other end is creating go short. That means on markers, I need to set go long and go short. Now the fast signals are created by the end indicators, not by the original signals. Let's enable this. Okay. And let's choose an ITM. To have an idea which target to use, looking at the chart, we can have an idea of the swing sizes. I usually use a ruler. For example, the shortest trade will be something like here. This short from here to here, we have 27 ticks. So using 20 ticks for the target is okay. This is something to optimize, but let's use this ATM. Click on the ATM. Also, when we are on a different account, we need to click on the account and then set to automatic. Automatic, longs are enabled, shorts are enabled. So it looks like everything is fine. Go to, okay. Let's see what happens. This one is not executed. Waiting start time. I have a problem with the time. Okay, I am waiting for this to turn green so I can check what I have to fix on markers. Let's set to 0, no time windows. Okay. Go to, okay. It was working. 5 minutes ago it was working, so it should take a short here. I guess when I disable and enable something is not. Maybe I forgot to enable the, sorry. Now I see what happens. For the next time, let's go to 3 a.m. so I can control this. Let's go to 3 a.m. 3 a.m. at 0. Okay. So now we can control the playback. Okay. Now let me check what is incorrect. I guess this is disabled. Yes, the marker was disabled. Okay. Now let's click on play. Now the message is gone, but we are only at 1 time. Let's increase the time. The maximum speed of the playback is slower than the go-to speed. So it is going to take more than the previous run. So what we are doing now is copying the signals, filter the signals with the slope of the HMA, and then execute those signals. And that concludes my part of the session, Mike, unless there are some questions about how to do anything with this.
Okay, no, that's fine. Let me get the screen back here, and there are questions, but we'll get to that in a second here. But no, that was good. That was useful. Let me just make sure everyone can see my screen okay. So, what Pablo showed you is advanced for, I think, for some new users. No offense, but it's it's good to know. You can see the capabilities that how you can combine different things with markers. And I know some people like to use an indicator and use another indicator for sort of confirmation. Like if you get a buy signal, you take it, you only take buys at a certain level in relation to, like, say, a VWAP or something. So, you have that flexibility. But what I'm going to show you right now, really quick, is how easy it is to set up markers, you know, the first time, for a lot of you people. So, okay, now this is my footprint chart, all right? But I have markers on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take everything off, start from scratch. What is this? This is a YM chart. So I'll just remove, remove, remove. Okay, so I'm just starting with just a simple plain chart. Okay, nothing fancy. This is just a footprint chart. But if you want me, I could just as use the same process, whether I do it on a footprint chart or a bar chart. Okay, so there's nothing different. So let me just get everything going here. So yeah, you gotta make sure you have Chart Trader open. All right. Um, Make sure you choose your ATM. Okay, so what you do, simple steps, right? I like to keep things simple. Go to, once you load markers on here, you just add it on, right? I already have my footprint on there. If I didn't have my footprint, if I was just looking at a normal bar chart, there would be nothing down here. But first I'll do it on a footprint chart, then I'll show you on a bar chart. Okay, so you add markers, force, I use copy. You need to add two, one for the buy, one for the sell. Then you just sort of, you go in here and you just set it up. Okay, so it's really simple, right? And if you're interested in the steps, I have them for you. But I'll talk about the steps. I have a little cheat sheet here. If you want, I could send that over to people. Just let me know. So you change the working mode here to auto, enable longs, enable shorts, fast signal. Now you got to change the name here. Go long or go short. You could keep go long, go short if you want, but I use my own term. I use normal up for buys, normal down for sells, and what else? I like to expand this out instead of 500 to 5,000. That's so. If you set the P&L to 500, as soon as you make 500, it will not take any more trades. If you lose 500, it will also turn off for the day. So someone, I think that was a question before, is will it can it, when you reach your nut, so to speak, your daily nut, will it stop? Yeah, that's what this is, the daily profit, daily loss. Okay, so that's the force part. Now what you have to do is you go in under markers, copy, and you got to set up a buy, you got to set up a sell. Okay, so I'm using fast signal, so I'm going to turn this on. and change variable name. Where am I? Here we are. It says my line. Change this to what I set it up in markers, right? Remember under here, right? I changed it to normal up for longs, normal down for sells. So I'm working on the ups right now. So change it to normal up. And then change this to each tick, calculate on each tick. And another setting you don't have to change, but you can if you want, is this, if it's plotting on the screen, okay, and you want to see where the signals were, you could use a dot, but I like to keep it triangle up for a buy, triangle down for a sell. Make it a little bit big, 8. Now, the other thing that you have to do is you got to go to the data series, this one right here, and you got to load up the indicator, Flowshifts. Now you should have some settings, depending on the market that you trade, you've probably found your sort of, your settings that you like. The settings that I like for YM on a 1-minute chart is all detection, volatile, normal, low volume. I use a look back period of 1. I use bar delta confirmation, and I have balance strength set to 1, balance points set to 2. Okay, and where are we here? And make sure this is the buy signal, right? So make sure it says buy signal and click OK. Now I got to do the same thing, but this time sort of the opposite for a sell signal, okay? Because right now I just plotted the buy signals, right? So I'll call it normal down. I'm going to use fast signal, okay? And I'm going to change that to calculate on each tick. I'll change this since it's a sell. I want to see it in red, not blue. And just use triangle down. Let's make it 8. So it's, again, you don't have to plot this stuff on here, but I like to have it on there just to remind me that what, there was a signal there. And then here, data series, again, you got to add the indicator. Go to flow shifts, set the settings exact same as you have for the buy. So it's all 3, volatile, normal, low volume, 1 enabled, delta, and this is set to 1. But you got to change this because this is for your sell signal. So you got to change the parameter plot to sell signal. And then click OK, and should be good to go almost. Okay, so then just sort of a few last minute checks, so to speak. Make sure you have your ATM strategy set up, and make sure it's enabled here, right? See, select ATM. Make sure it says what it is, 25 by 85 here, okay? Now, the other thing is obviously you got to have your account matched up. Right here it says sim, this one's playback. I just click on there, make sure I got the right account set up, and that's it. Basically, you're good to go. Now, I could run it in replay here. Let me just get it going here. Now, again, so I have it, today's Saturday morning, so I got it on playback. But when there's a signal, right? Okay, so you see right here, right? The conditions were met. It got me into the trade. Okay, so I'm long from what is that? 28. Okay, and then my stop and take profit is set to 25 ticks for the stop, 85 for the take profit. And again, depending on what market you're trading, depending on what your ATM is, okay, you can you set it, based on your own trading. And like I said, me, here I got stopped out. Okay, I like to manage the trade. So a question came up, will it what's this, will it automatically get you out of a trade if you're running it on sort of this auto autopilot? Then you don't have to do anything, right? You can see last trade is 425. Right now my profit is minus 70. Right now we're in the night session. But me, I like to trade, right? I like to let it I like to get into the trade, and if the order flow follows, whether, if it's going in my favor, I'll let it go to the take profit. But you know what? If I'm in a trade, right, just go back here where, some of these, this one, yeah, I got in here, but it stopped me out, in this bar down here. If I'm watching the order flow, and I see it going up here initially, right? I'm long from '09, and I see it trading, 30, almost 40. Then I start seeing the selling come in with this red bar, this bar struggling to take out the high of this bar. The order flow is just overall a little bit bearish, rather than getting stopped out here. As this bar is trading, maybe I could move my stop up a little bit closer to my entry price, right? So instead of getting stopped out at 25 ticks, maybe I could have got stopped out at minus 10 ticks. That's where trade management sort of comes um, into play, right? Is, you're a trader, right? You still want to trade, but again, you could run it on autopilot, right? I was running it on autopilot. I mean, so far, there were some trades that I got stopped out on. There were some trades that went to the profit target, and you could see, you could have up here your daily, um, you know, profit and loss, so to speak, up there. But again, there's going to be times where, you do get stopped out. Right here, there was just two trades that I got stopped out, three trades that I just got stopped out on. But I probably could have mitigated those trades in the sense of, you know, having, as a trader, trading it basically, understanding what's going on in the market. Hang on here. This thing's not here at the end. Okay, so now I'm into the next day already, right? The night session. And if you're trading the night session, as it's trading, you can still manage the trade, right? Even though right here, like right now, it's in the night session coming into 8 in the morning, it's down $600. You're thinking, oh, Mike, the system sucks. It's not one or two trades. You got to take into account the entire trading day. This is already the next day here, but uh, anyway, that's the last couple of days, right? One day was like whatever, and next day was whatever. So that's on an order flow chart. To set it up on a footprint chart, it's the same way. Let me let me see if I'll set it up for you real quick on a footprint chart. I gotta wait. I just went back on the data, but it's the same steps, right? The steps here. It's basically this, right? You open a new chart, turn on chart trader, choose your ATM, add markers plus, add markers copy for the buy, add markers copy for the sell. Then, you do things, you go into plus, this is what you change. Okay. You go into markers plus, you change the setting, working mode to auto, you enable the longs, the shorts, enable fast signals mode, change the name to normal. You can change it to whatever, say buys or sells if you want. I just use normal up, normal down, just because that's me, and I've always, sort of always used that. Um, you could change the money management if you want. If you don't want to use 500 and 500, you change it to 1,000 and 1,000 or something. Whatever. That's up to you. Then you got to set up the buy. Just these steps here. Change the variable name, to normal up that you had set up here. Normal up, normal down. Enable the fast signal, so it's going to read that. Set up flow shifts in your setting. You got to plot the normal buy signal. Calculate on each tick, plot blue triangle up. The sell is the same, but in the opposite. And that's really all that it is. Last minute checks, just make sure your ATM is selected, turn on auto mode, make sure the correct account is showing. And um, I'll tell you what, I'll start a brand new chart, okay? Brand new chart from scratch, just so you can get an idea of how quickly it is. So here, let me open up a chart, and it's on my other screen here. So basically, you just go in, well, turn on chart trader. What am I here? Okay, now then you just add the indicators, right? Markers plus, markers force, marker, go to indicator store, markers force, copy, copy, right? One for the buy, one for the sell, right? You just go in and then you start changing it. Okay, so first is working mode. Where are we here? Just turn default is off, change it to auto, enable longs, enable shorts, fast signal, change it to whatever. Or you can keep go long or go short if you want, but I use normal up, I use normal down. And again, you know, in these markets, 500 is very, very, very tight, but markers copy. All right, so now what you got to do is you go in here to the settings for the buy. Okay, so you're going to change this from my line to normal up. I'm going to use fast signal, and I'm going to change this on bar close to on each tick. And again, you know, I'm not going to change the plots, but again, yeah, I just showed you how to do that. You just go in here, blue for buys. I'll change the cell to red later. But then you also got to go in here to the input series and make sure you have the indicator loaded, right, with the settings that you're going to use. Make sure this one is the buy. Since this is the buy, you got to make sure it says buy signal. Okay, so now I'm going to set up the sell signal. Change this to normal down. Change that to fast, and change this to calculate on each tick. But again, you know, it's not like, you know, you do this enough, you sort of memorize it. But again, you know, I do have it on a simple, you know, these are the steps. That's it. It's not like pages and pages. It's just like this. And you know, there's even more advanced ways you could use it, you know, with other tools as well. Did I set this one up here? Whoops. Click here, Flowshifts. Change that to cell signal. Since this is the cell, make sure that's all right. It's okay. And change that to red. Click apply. Okay, so see right now ATM strategy says none. So, you know, I got to choose my ATM strategy since this is a new one. It's 25 by 85. Just click there, make sure it's there. The account, it should be on playback account. So you just click there, it'll automatically change. And you know, that's it. That's it. Right? And then, you know, it'll start running. This is the normal, this is the bar chart. Okay. But you can see here, this is what it's reading down here, the fast signals, right? Normal up, normal down. But so you can see there, right? It had a long, then it flipped because there was a short signal that came in. So, you know, it got long at 57, closed it out at 60, and it looks like it got short or closed it out at whatever. I can't read those, so small. I think there was 3 trades. I think one got stopped out, then got short again at 80 again. So there was a long here, then it flipped to a short, got stopped out, then it got short again here at 80. Right now it's, you know, 48 ticks in profit. And again, you know, if you wanted to close the trade, how do you do it manually? You just hit close. Okay, so you know, that's how you can get out of it manually. So anyway, you know, that's, you know, how easy it is to set up markers. You know, there's more advanced ways to use it. Yeah, you could use it easily. You could use it, you know, in more advanced, depending on your strategies. I know a lot of people have these very complex strategies, but you know, there's all sorts of things. You know, like you could have or. I mean, this would be topics for, you know, other days. You know, or a crossover, even, you know, the slope of something. So there's a lot of different ways you can use it. So anyway, we've been going on about an hour. I'll take a look at some questions. Yes, people ask, will there be a recording? Yep, there is. Question here, Pablo, what is fast signal mode in markers plus the force? You want to answer that one, or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
on NinjaTrader 7, we only had the option to detect and automate objects,
Hmm.
those objects that we can draw with the drawing tool, arrows, dots. And on NinjaTrader 8, now we have the option to also detect plots. The plots are much faster to detect that drawing object because NinjaTrader 8 is multi-threading, and the thread dedicated to paint has a lower priority than the thread dedicated to trade. So I suggest using fast signals because it is fastest to detect and also to execute a signal using that mode.
Okay. Yeah, so basically it's become more efficient. NinjaTrader 8 is a big change from NinjaTrader 7,
Mhm.
which is good. Um, let's see. Irani asks a question. Can you put two or more order flow indicators or any indicators, I guess, to trade auto trade at the same time, Pablo? So
Yes, of
basically
course.
he wants to
You can
trade,
you can
yeah,
place
more than
as
one.
many.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So that's an easy one. Yeah, you can combine things. Um, well, Victor asked about that cheat sheet that I have, that little step-by-step thing. If you want to, just shoot me an email, okay? It's simple. I'll flip that over to you. I think I had it on my website, and if you don't want to go to my website and dig around for it, just shoot me an email. Um, okay, Pablo, this one is specifically for you. How can we filter with an indicator that has two values, e.g., MACD or stochastics, and the filter is if K is greater than D or default is greater than the average, take the trade, etc.
Yes, you can do that, but I think this could be out of the topic today. I
Yeah.
invite you to come to the chat room
Yeah.
if you
Pablo
don't
has
mind.
a chat room where you could ask questions like that. Go to his website. I put your URL up there, indicator store or indicator market. Either one, they go to the same spot. And on there, he has his own so the Discord group, right?
Mhm.
And you can come in there and you can ask questions like that specifically, because that's like I said, yeah, that's pretty a specific question that's sort of not in the scope of today. But yeah, it is possible. Um, let's see, if I want to use markers to generate entries on several markets, would I need to? So the guy wants to look at, RB wants to look at 8 markets. Would I need to have 8 charts, each with different instrument symbol open at the same time? Or can I have markers run one strategy on 8 instruments with the Trader strategy tab? So I want to use markers to generate entries on 8 markets. So basically he's asking if he needs to have 8 charts open or if he can run it from one screen, like the strategy tab.
No, to check the signals, you need
Yeah,
8 charts and
right,
then 8 markers.
right, right. But you could have them, you don't need to literally, you could have them on different tabs here, like along the bottom, right?
Mhm.
You could open up tabs here. So you don't need to have like, one little tiny one up here and another one over here. You could all have them on one tab. But again, it depends on, how your screen is. If you got a lot of real estate space in terms of screen space, then yeah, you can do that. Ronnie asks, will markers get me out of the trade when it goes against me? Well, yeah, that's what your ATM is for, right? Is for that, specifically for that, right? It'll get you into the trade, and then it works your ATM. Okay. Um, Francisco asks, where do I get Flowshifts? Flowshifts, just go to this website, www.flowshifts.com. For markers, go to the indicator store or the indicator market. It takes you to the same spot. Pablo's got both. It's simple. It's the same place. Um, let me see. Can you show us? Mike, this one's for me. In your workspace, did you have a filter to filter out multiple signals as Pablo showed. Um, okay, yeah, there's a setting on there, right, Pablo? So basically what he's asking, where's my chart here? I'm trying to find it. Um, if there's like multiple signals in a direction, right, it just takes the first signal. Is there a setting there? What's the setting called? I forgot.
On markers, you have an option to trade
Yeah,
only the first signal or the first two signals, and so on. Trades
yeah.
per direction, I guess it is.
But it's under this part here under the
Yes,
force,
yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, there's a setting in there. I forgot what it's called
That
though.
one, trades per size.
Oh, this
Trades
one,
per
trades per
size.
side. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So I have it set to 0. So this one, right? So you could change that to 2 or 3, um, or just keep it at 0. I use 0. I like to take just the first trade. Um, let's see. Martin asks, what's the fastest speed you had your computer server connected to automated flow shifts using order flows? I'm not sure that question.
I could say something.
Yeah,
If you are only interested in trading live and you disable tick replay, any computer can work. You
right.
don't need a fastest computer.
Yeah, Pablo and I were talking about it earlier, before this presentation. If you're trading live, just his software markers is pretty light, in terms of system usage. But if you if you have tick replay disabled, right, as long as you're trading live, then it'll run a little smoother. Okay, because I remember yesterday there was a question of how many charts it's going to have open before NinjaTrader starts to cough. Um, but markers doesn't it's not code heavy, in that sense that it's going to it's like putting a big weight on your computer. So it's a pretty efficient software. Um, let me see here. What is this? Any new questions here? I'm trying to get through these. I may have skipped a couple, but I'm trying to just go through them here. Yeah, Sally asks, yeah, I do have preferred settings, and they're in the user guide, for flow shifts. Bomi asks, yeah, Bomi, the indicator store and Flowshifts, they're two different websites. Okay, Flowshifts is from flowshifts.com. The indicator store is Pablo's markers and his other tools, which also he's got some other things that I've got which are pretty useful. Uh, Martin says, you stated that the computer is memory. He stated, hang on here, I'm trying to read this. 1 gig, 10 gig, 10. Well, Martin, I'm not sure what you wrote there. 1 gig, 10 gig, 10, 100 MBS. My internet connection is 300, and it's already pretty quick. It's fine, but you don't need. I've run this on a laptop. Staying at hotels on the road, and sometimes those internet speeds are decent. Sometimes they are kind of slow, but I haven't really had an issue. But you got to realize, when you're trading, unless you got it running on a server that's pretty much in the same data center, you're going to have latency, no matter what. Um, Martin also asked, you stated the computer is memory intensive, so speed and computer are crucial. Again, it's I've run this on a i5 with, what do I got there? It's on just on my laptop. I'm just looking at my laptop specs. I think it's got 16 gig of RAM or 8 gig of RAM. It's just an off-the-shelf one that I bought at Best Buy, right? It's nothing fancy, and I've run it on that. I've got um, other computers that I pick up, on the cheap when they go on sale that aren't like very big specs or anything like that. Um, so it's again, you don't need to spend. I mean, you can if you want. You don't have to spend $4,000 on a trading computer, but you got the money to burn. Yeah, sure, why not? It's always nice to have something super fast, but you don't necessarily need that. Even when I was working at JP Morgan, we get a lot of our parts, we used to call it the scrapyard, like old um, computers from other departments. A person got fired, we taking pieces from there. So it's not like, um, everyone's running the fastest things all the time. Um, yeah, Phil asked about yesterday's training. Yeah, yesterday's training and today's training I'll be sending out later, once they get posted. Um, Johnny, how many? Okay, well, for Flowshifts is about the license. How many PCs are allowed for Flowshifts and markers? For Flowshifts, it's one because it's tied to the unique machine ID of NinjaTrader. For markers, Pablo, when you buy markers, how many computers can you run it on?
Two computers, two
Two.
machine
Okay.
IDs.
Yeah, two. So for Pablo, it's two. For Flowshifts, it's one. And like I said the reason mine is one is because it's linked to that unique machine ID of generated from NinjaTrader when you first install it. Johnny, settings. Well, what were my settings yesterday? For the 1597 chart were just. I don't have it on here. Just real quick, it was just like this. I think it was 1 and 2. I think I had this turned off. Low volume, normal markets, no swing filter, balance strength 1 and 2. I use delta confirmation. Will flow shifts work on non-minute bars? Yes, it will. It works on obviously tick-based charts. It will work on um, volume-based charts. It'll work on range-based charts. It won't work on Renko charts. Renko charts, are not ideal for backtesting, so to speak, and they can change in a sense. Can the PSAR indicator, I don't know what that is, be set up within Markers Plus as a stop loss tool? Do you know what that is, Pablo? PSAR indicator? I'm not sure if
I
that's,
don't,
yeah.
I am not
Uh,
sure.
I don't know if that's one in here inside NinjaTrader or something. Maybe this parabolic stop and reverse. Okay.
If you are referring to the parabolic SAR, yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can try this.
Yeah, it will. If it's this one, PSAR, parabolic stop and reverse, yes, it will. It will work, Brian asks, it will work on range charts, period. And it will work on, for example, here. Let me load it up here. Well, first remove this here. Just change this here to 1. I'll change that to, I don't know what to use. 10 range chart. Will markers version work to get me in the trade so I don't need, what's the difference between regular version and markers plus, basically? I think the question is, Pablo, do you still have the regular version or not?
No. Currently, there is only one version.
Okay. Currently there's one version. It's just the plus. So here's the 10 range chart, right, on YM. So yeah, it does work on range-based charts. It does work on tick-based charts. It works on volume-based charts. So anyway, guys, well, Brian, I don't have the historical data for, well, all right, since you're asking, let me just log out, go into a real-time connection here. Because you're asking about the 30 range NQ. If I got 30 on here, 25, 30 NQ. Well, Pablo, what's the price for markers?
Currently, for users of any of your stuff, so for Orderflow users, we have a special deal with a 30% discount.
Oh,
So
that's great.
Send me an email if
Yeah,
you
so
want to
that's
be
good,
sure.
guys. Save 30%. Email Pablo, tell him you saw it on this presentation, and you can save a lot of money. That's good. I've got the flow shifts is I think it's 369 now. Its price is going to go up soon to its regular price of 497. So right now it's still it's at its best price um, for users. So get in while you can. But Pablo, what's your email? Someone was asking.
Pablo@theindicatorstore.com.
Yeah, here. Let me I'll pull up your website here. So you see this is the 30 range NQ chart, but this is using the settings. I have different settings, slightly different settings for NQ. Um, I forgot what they are. Because this is the settings for a 10 range. Forgot what I use here. I think I use even a stronger one, 10 there, and I can't remember if it was 3 and 1 or 1 and 3. But okay, yeah, here's Pablo's website here. Well, that's coming up. Theindicatormarket.com or the indicator store, and
At
this
the
is his
bottom,
Discord chat.
yes, at the
Down
bottom
here
you
at the
have the
bottom,
chat.
this is Pablo's email there. So anyway, guys, I don't want to keep you guys on any longer. It's Saturday morning. Well, I'm here in Chicago, and it was sunny when I woke up, but right now it's a little cooler. Well, okay, the question is, what's the price of Pablo's markers? Well, on his website, Markers Plus, it's again, it's this, but he's offering it to you for 30% off. You just email him for that special price, right? He'll take you through the process to save 30%. 30% is $300. That's a big savings. So anyway, guys, have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see what happens on Monday with the markets. What's Bitcoin doing right now? Bitcoin's still holding steady at 54. Um, it's to me that's sort of my market gauge on where the market's going to reopen. Oh, 55,000 now, where the market's sort of going to reopen. We had a big rally obviously on Friday, so um, it's instead of having a bearish weekend, we got a sort of a bullish weekend. But this is the 30 range NQ chart. You know. So anyway, guys, Juan, it will be on. I'll send you the email with the replay later. So thanks everybody. Have a great weekend. Thanks Pablo for your time,
Thank
and
you, everyone.
enjoy the weekend, guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye.